Sometimes the best way to get your head around a huge, complicated story is to just zoom way, way in. By looking at a single 24-hour spin of our planet, we can start to see a much bigger picture about our world. So let's do that. What can just one day, we'll pick January 6th, 2026 for our story, really tell us about where we stand with the animals we share this planet with? Well, as you're about to see, that single day holds a fascinating and pretty contradictory story of danger, bravery, and incredible change. All right, so our story for this day kicks off with something pretty tough. In Hong Kong, a report came out that paints a really grim picture of the threats that animals are still facing right now in the modern world. 351. That's not just some random number. It's the number of animals that just one shelter had to rescue in only 6 months. That's the scale of the problem we're starting with. The Paws Guardian Rescue Shelter was dealing with a huge surge in illegal trapping and cat smuggling. They were rescuing an average of 2 animals every single day. But it's the severity that really hits you. In just 1 month, 4 different dogs had to have limbs amputated because of illegal steel traps. It's just a stark reminder of the cruelty that's still out there. But here's what's so wild. On that exact same day, the story takes a completely different turn. We go from a systemic problem to a single moment of incredible individual courage. Let's jump over to Canada. So meet Ace. He's an 11-year-old Husky, and while he was out for a walk, he suddenly found himself in a life-or-death situation. He plunged right through the thin ice of the freezing Detroit River, and the clock was ticking fast. The response was immediate. A Windsor police officer got to the scene, and without a moment's hesitation, he went into the freezing water himself. This was a direct, physical, unbelievably brave act to save one life. And he did it. Ace was pulled to safety, absolutely freezing, but okay. A classic, heroic story of human intervention. But the story of rescue on this day keeps evolving. We've seen raw physical courage. Now we shift to the quiet, powerful work of technology, which shows a completely different way we're learning to help. This is Abby. And get this, she's a search dog herself. But she got lost at a highway rest stop in New Jersey. And this wasn't just a case of wandering off a little bit. She traveled over 20 miles deep into a dense forest. That is a massive search and rescue challenge. Now, think about how you'd normally solve this, right? You'd get a ground crew, people combing through miles of woods on foot. It's slow, it's exhausting, and it's really hard. But that is not what happened here. Instead, they sent up a drone, which could just fly over that huge area in a tiny fraction of the time. And the real hero of this rescue? The tech inside that drone, thermal imaging. See, it wasn't looking for the shape of a dog among the trees. It was looking for her heat signature. It could see her warmth cutting right through the darkness and the dense woods. It pinpointed her exact location so the team could just go right in and bring her home safely. This technology is an absolute game changer. And believe it or not, the story of this one day goes even deeper than just rescues. It also showed us these profound systemic shifts in how we actually care for animals, moving beyond emergencies to improve their everyday lives and even end decades of suffering. On that same day, January 6th, there was an announcement about a device called the GluCurve Pet CGM. And just look at the difference here. For pets with diabetes, this means going from constant, painful finger pricks to a small, wearable monitor that checks their glucose levels continuously every few minutes for 2 weeks straight. This isn't a rescue, it's a revolution in their quality of life. And then, all the way over in South Korea, this piece of news dropped. This headline is something activists have been working toward for decades. It signals a monumental victory, not for one animal, but for an entire population that suffered for so long. And this is so important. This did not just happen overnight. This was the result of a long, incredibly hard-fought campaign. The agreement made on this day means that by 2026, this cruel industry will finally be banned for good. And the remaining bears will be moved to a sanctuary to live out the rest of their lives in peace. A real systemic change. So let's take a breath. What happens when we pull all of these different threads from just a single day together? What does it all show us? This slide really just lays it all out, doesn't it? On the left, you've got these old, persistent dangers: illegal cruelty, the random peril of nature, chronic disease, and institutional suffering. But on the right, for every single one of those problems, this one day also gave us a story of an evolving solution.
pure human bravery, advanced technology, medical breakthroughs, and landmark legal reform.
So here's the big takeaway, the real heart of the story of this one day. Our relationship with animals isn't just one simple thing. We are living in a world in transition, caught right in the middle, between the worst of our past and the best of what we can become, between cruelty and compassion and between negligence and innovation. All of that happened in just 24 hours. It's a snapshot of where we are right now, in this complex, contradictory, but also really hopeful moment. And it leaves us with a pretty powerful question, right? If this was the story of just one day, what story are we all going to choose to write tomorrow?